Just one more minute. So.
Did you want to fill out a visitor survey? That way you get it. It's better. Okay. Welcome.
Right.
What do you do on that?
There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, members, friends, and guests. My name is Monica Buckley. I'm a UFP member and the board president, and I will be your lead leader today. I am so happy to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. Since 1967, we've been a warm and welcoming liberal community right here in Pottstown. Unitarian Universalism is a creedless, inclusive faith that values love, justice, and the free search for truth. It encourages members to explore diverse spiritual paths, engage in social action, and cultivate ethical, compassionate communities. Its historical roots in Unitarianism and Universalism provide a foundation for a modern, pluralistic approach to spirituality and community life. And it is in that spirit that we live out our UUFP mission, which is nurturing spiritual journeys, embracing diversity, celebrating community, and turning values into action. Before we move into our announcements, I'd like to thank Emily, who's going to be doing our technology today, Miss Cecilia, who will be doing she's our pianist, and Diane, who will be our main speaker. So with that, are there any announcements? I'm all of them.
Hi, I'm Kay. I just want to let everyone know we're having another UU 101 and 102 class, which is going to be April 12th. And anybody that is curious about the fellowship, you don't have to want to become a member. If you just want to see what we're about here and what Unitarian Universalism is, you're very welcome to come on April 12th. It's right after the service. You grab a snack, a cup of coffee, and come on in here. And it's about an hour and a half, something like that. Okay.
Good morning. So I just want to let the RE families know that Mr. E, who was supposed to be here today, she had an emergency at the school that she manages. There was a flood. So she's overseeing the repair from that. And she has plans with her family for Easter. So she will be doing the 2nd and 4th Sundays in April instead of the 1st and 3rd. Next Sunday, Easter Sunday, there will not be embers at all. Not for me. So your kids, if they're free range, are welcome to play outside or stay in the service with you.
Good morning, I'm Irene, I'm your social justice chair here, and on that note, I wanted to thank everyone who showed up to No Games protest in Pottstown yesterday. We've had just about 16 people, yeah, woohoo, it's right. We've had just about 16 people show up. I would like to thank Terry. She brought quite a few of her friends. Really adding up to our numbers. Thank you, and of course Kay and everyone else who always comes and really feeds the beautiful energy that we presented yesterday. There's quite a few videos of us with the megaphone that we walking up and down and chanting. I think we really did show up as leaders in that protest, so I thank all of you for that. Unfortunately, we couldn't really present our beautiful gear because it was so cold, but I think everyone knew we were from UU Pottstown at the end of the day, and we showed up loud and proud. That's a great example of how we can show up in presence and stand up for what is right. So thank you so much, guys.
Hello, I'm Judy. Just wanted to remind you that there is a nice tour coming up in North Coventry Township called the Iron Legacy Tour. You can start buying tickets on April 1st. They're only $10. And there are tours on the 9th and 13th of May. And it's a 2.5-hour tour, and you just get a lot of history about North Coventry, and the historical stuff that went around. Only $10. If you're interested, I put a poster out by the office there, and I can send you anything. I found it on Facebook. I can send you this on Facebook. Text. Go ahead, Terry.
I can feedback on what Judy is saying. I volunteer at Hotspur Manor, and we just opened a 250th celebration. I know that it's really interesting as well, and it's free admission. Does everybody know what Hotspur Manor is? You might want to check that out.
All right, Hotspur Manor. I've lived this area for quite a few years. I have not gone there yet.
You would be pleased.
So I will.
And it's history love, right? How about say something the last time I saw you?
I make a vow, I will
The
get.
May 8th Festival is great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Judith. Just a small safety committee announcement. Take a look at the entry doors on your way out. There are evacuation maps now posted at all the doors. Take a look at where the rally point is, in case we ever have to massively exit. You'll know where you're going. Okay, just take a look at that. Thanks.
All right. Right, as we light our chalice today, I'm gonna ask Aria to come up and light it. But as we light our chalice today, you will notice on our table, we have a few extra items alongside the chalice, which are here to represent the four elements of nature: earth, air, fire, and water. Many modern pagans and Wiccans utilize and honor elemental energies in their spiritual practice, which Diane will touch on in her lesson today. So for earth, the ground beneath us holds steady, even when we forget our own strength. May these flowers remind us to root ourselves in compassion, justice, and the communities that sustain us. Air, the breath of life carries truth, whether we are ready to hear it or not. May the blossom, we forgot our feather, remind us to listen to understand, to think critically, and filter the messages we hear with a compassionate heart. Fire teaches us that transformation requires courage. May this flame kindle our bravery, small or mighty, as we work to bring more truth, love, and justice into the world. Water. Water shows us how to move with grace, flowing around obstacles rather than breaking ourselves against them. May this water remind us to be flexible, resilient, and gentle with ourselves and others. Spirit. Spirit is the thread that weaves our journeys together, guiding us toward meaning and belonging. As the chalice burns, may we feel the presence of something larger than ourselves, mystery, hope, and the shared promise of. Our opening words today are the Wiccan Read by Phyllis Thompson. This is something that like newbie pagans kind of like look at, and then as they learn and grow in their practice, they're like, oh, that's what this line means, which I think is really cool. By the Wiccan law you must, in perfect love and perfect trust, live and let live, fairly take and fairly give. Pass the circle, thrice about, to keep the evil spirits out. To bind the spell every time, let the spell be spake in rhyme. Soft of eye and light of touch, speak little, listen much. Day of Sil goes by, the waxing moon, sing and dance the wicked rune. Wintershins go when moon doth wane, and the werewolves howl by the dead wolf's fate. When the lady's moon is new, kiss the hand in her times too. When the moon rides at her peak, then your heart's desires seek. Heed the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. When the wind comes from the south, love will kiss thee on the mouth. When the wind blows from the east, expect the new and set the feast. When the west wind blows o' three, departed spirits restless feed. Merry meet and merry part, break the cheeks and warm the heart. Mind the threefold law you should, 3 times bad and 3 times good. When misfortune is enow, wear the blue star on thy brow. True in love e'er be, unless thy lover's false to thee. 8 words the Wiccan Read fulfill, and it harm none, do what ye will. So our first hymn for today is hymn number 2067, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden, and Singer Teal Hymnal. all ages. This is actually going to be a YouTube video. So you guys can stay in your seat or you can come up if you want to. This is called Ostara and the Hare by Alexander Ravenheart.
My dad never looked back at his old jeans after I gifted him these.
Trust me, these will be... Ostara and the Hare. Written by Alexander Ravenheart. Illustrated by Maria Panchenko. Oh, hark, the sound of songbirds singing sweetly in the sky. Behold the chipper chattering of chipmunks bustling by. Inhale the pleasant perfumed breeze of sprouting vegetation, as fragrant fields of flower buds all bloom in celebration. Their mirth as they toast the sacred marriage of the sun to maiden earth. While nature's children mingled, there was one who wasn't there. The rabbit to the bunny asked, "Say, have you seen the hare?" In truth, the hare was first to wake upon his grassy nest, but straightway he knew today would not be like the rest. For when he stood to start his day and stretched his lucky legs, he realized, to his surprise, that he had laid an egg. Its shell was rainbow-colored, and the hare exclaimed, "My word! No mammal's laid an egg before. That stuff's for bees and birds." He hoped he might find someone with an answer if he asked it. So the hare hopped hither, thither, yonder, with his bundle in a basket. He asked the crow, who didn't know. The tortoise couldn't tell him. The fairy folk found it a joke. The gnomes weren't home to help him. But just before all hope seemed lost, there came a cordial call. Old Robin swept up to the scene. "Young hare, don't you recall? Oh, bless the bliss of naive life," he twittered to the hare. "Follow the rainbow to Ostara. You'll find your answer there." Now most of nature's children, be they falcon, fish, or fox, know Ostara as the goddess of the springtime equinox. But the hare had never met her, so he struggled to pretend his belly wasn't filled with butterflies when he reached the rainbow's end. As soon as Hare beheld her, he could not believe his eyes. Ostara's beauty was breathtaking, and tremendous was her size. Flowers blossomed all around her, while she sang a sacred psalm. "Hello, friend," Ostara said, and held him in her palm. "Oh, green goddess," said the hare, "please listen to my plea. I've laid this egg here, and I fear there's something wrong with me." The goddess gave a gleaming grin, broad as the ocean shore. "Don't you recall?" the goddess asked, just as old Robin did before. She said, "Once there flew a brilliant bird with rainbow-colored feathers, and every spring she'd visit me and we would sing together. But one year, winter stayed too long and frost bit at her plumes. I formed her feathers into fur to save her from her doom." His memories returned at once. That rainbow bird was me. "Oh, goddess, now I understand," the hare cried, tears of glee. "Please take this egg as tribute for saving me from strife. Each spring I will come back again to thank you for new life." So every spring the hare returns, still grateful to his goddess, and gifts her rainbow-colored eggs in keeping with his promise. Then he visits every village garden, hiding eggs in secret places, and waits to watch the joy of life spring to light in children's faces. Thank you, friends, for listening along to this reading of Ostara and the Hare, book number 2 in the Song of Sabbath series by Alexander Ravenheart. Each book in the series features a poetic tale based on one of the eight Sabbaths.
One basket today, but that's okay. So now it's time for our offering. Giving is not about duty, is an invitation into the sacred work we share. In the old ways, an offering was a gesture of belonging, a way of saying, I am part of this circle, and I help shape what happens here. So we give not from obligation, but from the knowing that what we nurture together grows stronger than anything we build alone. It is with gratitude and with open hands and open hearts that we receive your offering today. Thank you. So while that's going around, in a moment, Diane's going to come up and give her lesson on the basic beliefs, practices, and reality of Magick within the Wiccan and Neo-Pagan faiths. But before that, I'd like to share a little story about a time that I've used magic in my own life. So one of these days I need to do a This I Believe sermon because I'm like a dichotomy. I have a very scientific brain, but I also have a very creative and imaginative brain. And I've been heavily influenced over the last 22 years by Wicca, goddess worship, and Christianity. My education is in biological sciences, and I work in healthcare and pharmaceutical industry, but I've also dabbled in lots of woo-woo witchy shit like tarot, candle magic, herbalism, and divination. So my spiritual practice has evolved with me through the different stages of my life and has really helped me survive some really terrible times. And so I'd like to share with you a time where I think a little magic helped me survive a terrible boss. This was my first real job out of college, and I was the lead primate caretaker and behavioralist for a quarantine facility. When animals come into the country, they need to stay at a quarantine facility for 90 days to make sure that they're healthy and they don't have any like bad pathogens and stuff before they go off to their zoo or wherever they're going. So in one of our long-term rooms, we have these large treehouse runs, and there's multiple levels, and they're kind of sectioned off, and there's these sliding doors where we can like socialize the animals. And one day I realized that there was a female in with my male run, which is really bad because we don't want baby monkeys. So the boss and owner of the facility, up until recently, was the most difficult person I had ever encountered in my life. And she was extremely emotional, controlling, like you didn't know which person you were getting that day. She was very explosive when she talked to you. But this was like my first job. I was pregnant with Tyson, I needed the money, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever this woman said. So I was terrified of her. I knew, because I was the leader, that I was going to bear the brunt of the situation, and my anxiety was through the roof. But I had to act really quickly because I knew it would get worse if she discovered the error by herself. So I immediately separated the female from the males. I made sure that we could observe her alone to make sure she wasn't pregnant. We had to wait for her next estrus. We checked her to make sure she wasn't injured at all. I checked the enclosures, make sure the doors were working, and we found that one of the doors was like not locking right, so that's how she got in. So I like did all the things, and I made a plan and everything, but I was still freaking out because I had to tell my boss. So I went into the bathroom, and I was just standing there and like trying to calm myself down, coaching myself in the mirror, like, okay, this is what we're gonna say to her. And I just could not stop from freaking out. I was like hyperventilating. Suddenly, this idea popped into my head, and I grabbed a piece of toilet paper, I grabbed my Sharpie, and I wrote her name on the toilet paper. I crumpled it up into a ball, and I just sat there like this, and I was like, flush her anger away, flush it away, flush it away. And I just sat there for like, I don't even know how long. And I just put all my energy into that. And then I was like, when I was ready, I like threw it in the toilet and I flushed it. And so I was like, all right, let's do this. And I walked up the hill to my boss, and I told her what happened, what I did to fix the issue. And I was like, shaking and just waiting for her to like scream at me and fire me. And she sat there like stone-faced. She had like no emotion, and she just like glared at me. And she was like, well, that can't ever happen again. Glad you fixed it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like waiting for the next thing, and she just like gave me the side eye, and I'm like, okay, that's my cue. And I just like hightailed it back to my office. So she didn't fire me, and I was just so grateful. And I know it seems really silly and irrational that my actions with the toilet paper couldn't have possibly have done anything to sway the situation. It was probably that I prepared myself and like I fixed the problem before I went to her. But there was no denying that doing this action calmed me down enough to like really face this really terrible, difficult person. And to me, that is a bit of magic. And with that, I'm going to introduce our main speaker today. Diane Awenydd-Evans is a Wiccan high priestess of Weavers of the Moonfire, which is a local coven, and they are associated with the Assembly of the Sacred Wheel. All right.
Unlike Monica, I'm short, so. There we go. I can see y'all. So I have a lot of information that I want to cover today, and I could do 5 hours just on what paganism is, let alone the 12 hours class that I teach on what Wicca is. And then Magick, I could teach another 12 hours just on the basics of it. But we're going to get this, I'm going to present it in a reasonable amount of time, which will get us into the fellowship hall by 11:30. I promise. I have my phone just so I can keep track of the time. So I gotta back this up, or I'm gonna fall off the back. There we go. Okay, I'm not like perched on my toes now. So why is paganism relevant to UUFP? Well, the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans has been in place for 40 years, and that is part of the UUA. There are many, many, many chapters of CUPS around the country. Those CUPS chapters support their UU congregations that they are a part of, and the congregations support those CUPS chapters. We don't have a CUPS chapter here, partly because we're not big enough, and we don't have enough pagans. There are a few of us, and we are grateful for the acceptance that we find here, and the love that we find here, and the opportunity to participate in this community just like any other member. But paganism and in the form of CUPS and UU are intertwined. There are pagans in just about, I would think, just about every congregation in this country, and some around the world too. So that's why it's relevant to UU. I gotta bring my notes up because I can't read them otherwise. Quite a few of the songs that we sing, and specifically the ones we're singing today, are pagan songs, and they come out of our teal hymnal. There are pagan readings in the back of the gray hymnal, one of which Monica's going to read at the end of the service. The song we sang just a few minutes ago is an example of casting a circle, which is something that pagans, specifically Wiccans, do as part of creating sacred space, because we might practice outside or in somebody's living room. We use temporary spaces. Weavers of the Moonfire has been blessed to be allowed to use the sanctuary on more than one occasion, and the side yard on more than one occasion. But because we have a tendency to move from place to place or to be outside, we're always creating sacred space for ourselves wherever it is that we're going to do ritual. And to do that, we generally cast a circle.
The circle being a symbol to us of the universe. The sun and the moon appear to be circles in our sky. If you can see them up close enough, or with a magnifying glass, our planets appear to be circles in the sky. When if we have had no trees and hills in the way, our horizon would appear to be a circle around us, no matter where we are. When we get away from the planet, far enough away from the planet, we can see that the Earth is a sphere, which is a three-dimensional circle. So circles are really important to our symbology. And using the cardinal directions and calling in the elements of the classical elements of earth, air, water, and fire, and spirit, give us direction and give us an anchor for the work that we're doing on the planet, on the earth at the time. So circles are really important to us, and that hymn is a prime example of calling the quarters of the circle, the midnight in the north and earth in the north, air and morning and the athame, which is the blade, in the east, wands and fire and passion in the south, water, healing, and the cup or the chalice in the west, and then spirit and the cauldron in the center. So that's why we sang that song. And we're going to sing a couple of other songs today, but I wanted to point out that we cast our circle when we sang that song. So paganism in general is considered it's a collection of spiritual practices and beliefs and religions that are earth-centered or earth-based. That's our general definition of it. That may include heathenry, which is, or Satru or Norse paganism. Heathens generally worship the Norse pantheon, which you may or may not have studied in school, and their center of, and the values attached to and embodied by those gods. Their center of worship is the hearth and the kindred, their community. It could be a druidism. Druids tend to also practice in groves, circles, what they call them groves. They're very nature-based, and they're based in Celtic heritage and culture. They have a tendency to work very strongly with the land and the gods or goddesses of that land that they are living on. They also practice magic. Goddess worshippers, who the name is kind of self-explanatory. Witchcraft, Wicca, which are not identical things. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. I don't want to forget anybody. Oh, and non-religious pagans, because there are quite a few people who don't have a religion, but do practice earth-based spirituality, and they consider themselves pagans too. So kind of like we're not gathered by creed, we're gathered by values. Same thing with pagans. They may not share any belief system, but they have a sense of a shared value system, primarily love and care for Mother Earth. What else did I want to say about? They come from many cultures, and there are lots of different types of pagans, and they're generally great people. Often, the focus of their practice is a reverence for nature, either a combination of the above, polytheism, which means worshiping more than one god, pantheism, which means God is in everything, animism, which we spent an entire Sunday talking about, that spirit is, everything has spirit. And working with spirits and magic, practicing magic. So that's my 101 on paganism. Like I said, we got a lot to cover and I don't want to be late. I can recommend a really good book called The Path of Paganism. It's by a Druid UU member of the Denton, Texas Cups group and UU fellowship there. His name is John Beckett. You can find it pretty much anywhere you find books. So John Beckett's The Path of Paganism, very well written. John is a very well spoken and intelligent man. He is a UU. He helps run his Cups group down in Denton, Texas. And he's a Druid, really nice guy. He also has a blog called Under the Ancient Oaks, which is well worth reading. He presents a lot of thoughts through a pagan lens that will give you lots of food for thought. So that's my 101 on paganism. There we go. Now we come to Wicca. Wicca and witchcraft are not the same thing. They're very, very closely related, but they're not the same thing. Wicca, which is, I am a high priestess of a Wiccan coven and part of a Wiccan tradition. I also practice witchcraft, but that's not my religious practice. The witchcraft that I practice is the magic that I practice. There are lots of people out there who call themselves witches, and they have the right to do that, who practice witchcraft, who have absolutely no religious tendencies. And they're allowed to do that because witchcraft is absolutely no, doesn't require a religious bent. And then Wicca, which is a religion, it is a very new religion. It was basically invented by Gerald Gardner in England in, I think he published his first book on the matter in 1954. So it's not even 100 years old. And it's gone through lots and lots of evolution and change. There are still Gardnerian covens that function in this country. They are very traditional and they have very, very clear sets of rules and the way they do things. I practice an eclectic form of Wicca. My tradition is always changing the way we do things. And always bringing our ideas about social justice, about inclusion, about safety within the community and how to deal with people who are not safe, and how to protect the more vulnerable within our community. Our ideas of gender. So when my tradition was first formed, for example, a coven needed a high priest and a high priestess. And that high priest needed to be male, and the high priestess needed to be female. We changed that and tossed that right out the window. And the coven can have up to 2 leaders of any gender. They can call themselves whatever they feel the need to call themselves. They don't have to profess a gender. We are inclusive. We have many different people from many different walks of life. We want to be more inclusive, to be honest. There are a lot of middle-aged white women, which is the public's view of what Wicca is. It's not just middle-aged white women, I promise you. But there are a lot of us. That being said, my coven has 4 men running from the age of 50 down to 27. 2 of them are gay, 2 of them are straight. My partner is poly, because we are. Actually, both of the straight men are poly. Actually, all 4 of them are poly. And a couple of the women, we have a lovely young woman who is very traditional in her ideas of her family. She has 2 small children and a beautiful husband, and she is very straight-laced, which is absolutely fine. And then there are, some of us are not so straight-laced in the way we live our lives, and that's fine too. We practice together in perfect love and perfect trust. We accept one another and our differences. So the perceptions you have of Wicca are not inaccurate, especially the history of Wicca, but they may not be as accurate now because people change. People learn and grow and come to understand that the things that we started with are not appropriate or helpful or useful anymore, so we change. I did want to put that out there because I know there are a lot of perceptions of my faith that we're a bunch of middle-aged white women who don't accept people who are gay or any part of the LGBTQIA community, men. There is a form of Wicca that is strictly women and exclusive of trans women, which is generally not looked fondly upon by the rest of the community, but we don't get to police each other. We'd love to, but we don't get to. So we just generally don't interact and make sure that we are a safe place for everyone. So Wicca, what do we do? Besides casting circles, our practice is based on magic and ritual, honoring nature, honoring spirit, including the god and the goddess. And when I say we worship the god and the goddess, that means that we are not strictly about goddess. We recognize all forms of deity. That includes deity that is not gendered, and that includes deity that is traditionally masculine. All of us have a place at the table. All of the gods, as long as they are virtuous and not too problematic, because a lot of these gods, their myths come from centuries and centuries ago. So some of their behavior is problematic, and we have to, but it's an opportunity when we talk about those gods and we choose to work with them, it's an opportunity to discuss what problematic behavior looks like and what do we do about it. It's part of the dialogue, it's part of the conversation. So none of our gods are perfect. So that's one major difference between polytheism and monotheism. My gods are not perfect, nor omnipotent, nor omniscient. What's the other one? Well, they might be omnipresent, but generally not. They're not perfect. They have flaws, and many of their stories, they have as many flaws as any human. But hopefully they are more highly evolved than most of the human race, and even than the most evolved of the human race. So, but we get to decide who's worth working with and who isn't. So we get to pass judgment on our gods rather than the other way around, which may sound like heresy. And it probably is, especially if you are a monotheist who believes in traditional belief systems of monotheistic religions. But I am no longer that. So I don't worry about it feeling like heresy. I don't mean to offend anybody, but this is my belief system. And I came out of a very extreme fundamentalist Christian, if you can call it Christian, because they're really not, Baptist environment. I spent my 20s there. I did not grow up there. I grew up in a United Methodist Church, which was a loving, liberal tradition. Not as liberal as UU, but pretty darn close. And after spending time in that extremist fundamentalist place, I couldn't go back to the church. So I had to find something that made more sense to me. And this is what I found. And since finding it and walking this path for a few decades, I'm grateful to have found this community where I am accepted for who I am and what I believe, and where I can share community and faith and trust and love with the people here. So that's probably more about my personal history than you really wanted to know, but I'm here to share. So the thing about Wicca, and so Wiccans will refer to themselves as witches, right? There are lots of people in the world who also identify as witches, and they have every right to do so, who practice witchcraft, but not Wicca. So it's really important that you understand that, because not every witch is going to embrace the Wiccan Rede. The Wiccan Rede, that lovely poem that Monica read, is basically our one rule. And the last line is the really important part. Do what you will, and in harm none, and in harm none, do what you will. It's also been put this way: love is the law, love under will. So we can choose to do anything for ourselves, as long as it doesn't harm someone, as long as it is based in love. So that's our rule for doing that, okay? And again, non-Wiccans, it doesn't apply to them. Although most non-Wiccan witches I know of are ethical people who care about whether they do harm and try to do magic that is going to benefit not only them, but the people around them, their community, etc. So I don't want you to think that I'm calling those other witches bad witches, because they're not. They're good, decent people, just like you all are good, decent people. You're not Wiccans, but that don't make you jerks. I remember I'm being recorded, and this is going out on YouTube eventually. I watched that. So now we're going to talk about magic, because I got 15 minutes, or well, I got 10 minutes to do that. So, what is magic? Well, first of all, it's not delusion. No matter how much you might think that a 60-year-old educated, relatively sane, mostly normal adult, how can you believe in magic? Well, it's not that I reject science. I don't know a witch out there that does reject science, and I know a lot of scientists who are witches. It's that science is a method of inquiry. It is not a completed map of reality. Science has not proven magic to be false. It hasn't proven it to be true either, but it hasn't proven it to be false. And that's really important to remember. Witches and people who believe and practice magic are not anti-science. Science has proven a lot of really good things. It's given us a lot of really good information about the world in which we live and how the cosmos functions, although a lot of that is still theory, because unless it's observable data, it's not provable or repeatable. So I want you to remember that science has limits, and it has not disproved the existence of things like magic. So the things that fall into the realm of magic are our imaginations, our emotions, our relationships, our perceptions, our intuitions. I don't think anybody here would say that those things aren't real, right? These things shape how we see and interact with the world around us. Magic does the same. With the added caveat that magic allows us to change our reality, or the reality of the world, to cause change in accordance with our will. Okay? And magic doesn't just belong to witches. Every single human being on the planet, and a few cats I know, are capable of magic. Honestly. I haven't met a dog who's interested in doing them. Dogs are a little bit more in this moment right now. I want to play, I want hugs, I want food, I want to sleep, I want to sit in the sun, I want to play. That's a puppy, right? Or an old, it doesn't matter how old the puppy is, since that's what dogs are. Cats, on the other hand, some are completely clueless, but some of them do like to do magic of their own. And I have one of those. It was wonderful. It's rare, but it does happen. That being said, every human that I know of is capable of magic, and there are some non-human persons, some cats, some trees, some non-corporeal beings that I know who do magic. Magic is available to anyone, and I use person very broadly, anyone who has a divine spark within them, right? So if animists are real, we all have spirit and everything around us has spirit. If the pantheists are real, are right, then all of us have God in us, right? Have deity, the spark of the divine inside us. I happen to believe that. My tradition happens to teach that. So if we have the divine spark within us, we are capable of magic. So how do you do magic? Right? Because that's really what y'all want to know, right? Okay. Magic is very simple and complicated. I can't teach all of the things there is to know about magic in this 5 minutes. I can give you the basics, and I'm going to let you know that we practiced magic as a group at Samhain the last 2 years, and we will do it again this year, when we do a ritual to bless the building and to bless the fellowship. I make you all sit in a circle. We talk about what we love about this place and the people in it. We name our heroes, we name our allies, we raise each other up, and then we sing meditation on breathing, right? That is a magical act. When we sing that song, and we're going to sing it today as final part of this lesson, we are creating magic. And this is the formula. You need to be clear on what you're doing, clear intention, know what it is you want to accomplish. Now, there's a whole pile of stuff that goes with it. You've got to believe that what you're doing falls into the category of right action, that you're not doing something wrong. Because if you believe that some part of you believes that you're doing something wrong, game over. But if you think you're doing an ethical thing, something that you can get behind completely, no parts of you are like arguing with you about it. Have a clear intention. Focused attention. You focus your attention completely on the intention that you've formed and on the action that you're taking, the physical action, whether that's flushing a piece of, flushing a piece of paper, although the focused attention happened before she flushed it, when she was charging it with what she wanted to have happen, right? That her anger go away, that she be chill, she not be angry and scream and yell and be abusive. Focused attention on your clear intention. And the last part, the third part, is directing your energy. Energy is another word for power. Power is another word for magic. We actually taught one of the kids' classes, because part of the curriculum, how to do magic. And we had them choose a intention that they felt was right. I think they generally chose peace, peace or friendship, and raise energy by dancing and banging a drum and raising energy into their bodies, and then releasing that energy with a shout at the end when they were ready to let it go. They did magic. Y'all, when we sing meditation for breathing, you're doing magic. We've agreed that we want to bless this building and fill it with love. so that it seeps into the walls and the ceiling and the floor. We've agreed that we want to bless the members of this fellowship, right? So we're clear on our intention. We're focused on our attention because we're singing the words. We're singing the words of what magic we are doing. And we stay focused on that because we have to in order to sing the words. We may harmonize too, which is just extra gravy, you know, the extra sparkle. Magic doesn't look like it does in the movies or on TV. It is very subtle. But it does work. It is real. So when we sing the meditation on breathing, we are breathing in the peace that this place provides, that we can find when we come here. And we're breathing out the love that we hold for this place and the people in it. That is the magical act. That is the magic that we as a collective are creating, conjuring in this space during that ritual. So I want you to practice that with me just once. And as you are singing it, I want you to think about what you're doing. Your intention is to breathe in the peace that this place offers and to breathe out the love that you want to fill this whole room with and this whole building. We're going to just do it a few times. And if you know the drum part, sing the drum part. And if you know the dust camp, please come in with the dust camp. And Cecilia's going to play us just a little bit and we're going to start singing, but I want you to think of the magical act, clear of intention, focused attention, and directing our magic, our power. We direct the voice, the breath through the voice, and the breath carries our magic out into the world. I breathe in peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love when I breathe in. I breathe in peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love when I breathe in. I breathe in peace when I breathe out. I breathe out love. Thank you, Cecilia. So that's my one-on-one 101. That's my quick and dirty on paganism, Wicca, and magic. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask me. I will give you my perspective. However, I strongly encourage you to Google some of these words and some of these ideas and read as many other opinions as you can find and figure out what makes the most sense to you. New witches are always encouraged to read as many opinions and as many ideas and thoughts and traditions, practices, attitudes as possible in order to help form your idea. Because lots of people out there will say, this is the way to do it, and this is the way to do it, this is the only way to do it, and you better do it this way, and all of that's crap, to be perfectly honest. So read as much as you are interested in reading. Research it. There's lots and lots of information out there. If you have a question you want to ask me, I am around and accessible. And this is what I do. And then make up your own minds. And I hope you choose to dabble a little in magic. And if nothing else, you will be dabbling in it at Salem at the end of October. Right here, same back channel, same baskets. All right, so that's, I don't think I forgot to say anything, and if I did, well, then I'm just gonna have to catch next time. All right, I have to get off this stool without losing my balance because my knees and my ankles are locked. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that.
Okay, we're gonna do one more song. Oh Brother Sun, it's 1066 in the teal hymnal. Hard to sing songs you don't usually sing that much, but you did great.
I'm looking to change that.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the Charge of the Goddess. I actually couldn't find it in the back of the Great Hymnal, so I'm gonna read the one that I have.
Okay, that's fine.
This is by Doreen Valiente. Listen to the words of the Great Mother. She who of old was also called among men, Artemis, Astarte, Athene, Diane, Melusine, Aphrodite, Cerdoin, Sybil, Aaronrod, Isis, Dana, Bridget, and by so many other names. Whenever ye need of anything, once in the month, and better, in when the moon is full, then shall ye assemble in some secret place, and adore the spirit of me, who am queen of all the witches. There shall ye assemble, ye who are fain to learn all sorcery, yet have not won its deepest secrets. To these will I teach things that are yet unknown, and ye shall be free from slavery, and as a sign that ye will be really free, ye shall be naked in your rights, and ye shall dance, sing, feast, make music, and love, all in my praise. For mine is the ecstasy of the Spirit, and mine also is joy on earth. For my law is love unto all beings. Keep pure your highest ideal. Strive ever towards it. Let not stop you or turn you aside. For mine is the secret door, which opens upon the land of youth, and mine is the cup of the wine of life, and the cauldron of Cerdoin, which is the holy grail of immortality. I am the gracious goddess who gives the gift of joy unto the heart of man. Upon earth I give the knowledge of the Spirit eternal, and beyond death I give peace and freedom and reunion with those who have gone before. Nor do I demand aught in sacrifice, for behold, I am the mother of all living, and my love is poured out upon the earth. So now's the time where we have joys and concerns. We're a little over, but we're going to turn off the camera. And if you would like to come up, we will, you can share what you'd like to share. Go ahead. Do you want to do it? All right, so we're going to say our extinguishing words together. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the light of wisdom, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and in our hands until we are together again. All right. Our favorite part, go eat. Yeah, coffee. Oh, post food. Sorry, post food.